We are live with the future man who will be doing trailers for movies. So get used to this voice. So yeah, you said off air that you'd forgotten something really good about
Oh
yourself
yeah.
as a kid.
Over one of the summers that I spent with my dad, he sent me to entrepreneurship school camp thing. I don't know what it was, but he found a little program and he put me in it, and I came out at the top of my class, at the top of the camp. It's pretty interesting. Um, I've always been really good at presenting or selling things to people. It's another just one of my good habits, and I can tell once again, what people want to hear, how they want to hear it. Um, so
Not through
just
the
thought it was a
magic,
little. Hmm?
through just being attentive and watching their reactions,
Yeah.
seeing how things are going and giving them more of what they're positively reacting to.
Hmm. But I've
Right
always
then.
really, once again, it wasn't something that I thought I was gonna do well in. I wasn't really interested in it. My dad was the business guy, and once he found out that I was at the top of my class of that, he wouldn't stop talking about it.
So what did you actually do, or was it too long ago to really remember?
They gave us little programs. They taught us how to speak in front of people. Little things like that. But I was just a kid. I was in middle school at the time, and I didn't know what to do with all of that. So eventually, the abilities just they deteriorated. I'm not sure if I'm really good at it now anymore. But
How old were you when you did it?
I'm gonna say probably 13, 14.
Right,
It's pretty decent.
right. So now we're on to the meat of the 4 videos. Your weaknesses. Dun dun dun.
Oh
What could they
no,
be?
not my weaknesses. None. Let me stop. Yeah, I got a few. Want to say I get bored really easily. Um, I have this amazing ability to, convince people to join me and do things along with me and take them for the amazing ride, and then I jump off halfway, and then they're just like, "Why did you leave me to do this by myself?" But that's one big weakness.
What?
Another
Sorry. What are the sort of things that bore you?
man, after a while, anything. It's just repetition. Things get old. I can't do the same thing over and over again. I have to always find a new way to spice things up.
Right.
Like that's why I would choose different characters all the time. I mean, I even had this discussion with my brother. Like, you had to sit me down one day and it was like, you know what, Tryston, you need to figure out who you're going to play with, and you need to get really, really good with them. He's like, I understand you have the fundamentals of the game down, but you need to just choose one and just get really and commit to it. So I guess commitment is a big problem. I like to always figure out, okay, yeah, I'm bored of this now. So let's see if I can change it up. So I'm always doing that in all my ways of life, yeah. No matter what I'm doing.
Right. Um, you mentioned something before about uh, emotional impulsivity being something you wish you didn't have. What kind of problems has that led to?
Uh well,
In a broad sense, without naming names, or
yeah,
so no one sues you.
yeah, like I've done things with people, to people, said things that I wasn't really proud of, or things that I was super proud of at the time, and then grew to regret. Um, but yeah, I've always just I have this way of internalizing things, you know. Don't I don't like to show feeling or, the negative feelings like crying or anything like that. But every once in a while it'll hit me, and it's a lot more dramatic than it should be. If I just did it on a consistent basis, I know I'd be healthier, but I tend to just take everything in and explode.
What do you think? Because what do you? This might seem like a tangent, folks, but it will be useful. What do you think of ENTPs?
ENTPs, they're cool. And I mean, in a different way, though. They are. If you're running into one that's not always in the Facebook groups, in any sort of group, or they're not like, if you run into, yeah, if they're outside of that community, then I've found them to be really, really cool people. Although they tend to like stress me out a little bit with the things that they say. Or like they seem to have like no morals, no right or wrong idea. Like they just aren't aware. But that doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
As opposed to, it still gets to me, but in a different way.
You see, that's why I was asking him that question, folks, is to like lead on to that question of morals in terms of So, like I said, so you'll see you're stronger at that than the ENTP is. Do you think you could be stronger than that, or you're pretty confident in that area, or is it there was a problem like you feel you got good morals? It's just the impulsivity that sometimes
I just get clouded really easily. I know what's important to me, and I know that I have certain rules, and then when I break those rules, I'm like, okay, I have no rules. Then I make more later on, and then it's like, oh, broke it again. It's a lot of breaking certain structures that I create. It's always just destroying. Very
interesting. What the interesting part there to me was the bit where you said structures that you create. So you want to create structures.
Yeah, I want to be structured. I want to have my own sense of structure. Yes. I want to feel like, I have something down. I'm mastering something. That's what's very, very important to me. Whenever I let go of that, I seem to rationalize letting go of it. Like, oh yeah, I don't need that anyway. But yeah. I've always wanted to be that diligent guy in class, who's always doing his work, always studying. Always wanted to be that guy, but not really. In the long term, yeah, grand scheme of things, not really. I'm happy with the way I am.
I don't know. These are your weaknesses. It's not up to me to point your weaknesses out, Tryston.
I mean, once again, I said I don't have any to begin with, so okay. I'm being right. Generous with these. But
yeah,
what commitment, sticking to something,
right?
Boredom, another big thing is people sometimes can be my weakness.
Here we go. So if we talk about how you get on with the other types, things might come out in the wash about your strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, but I mean, like certain people. Like friendships, things like that, when things get a little crazy or hairy, I tend to show this very pragmatic side of me that I didn't know I had. Well, obviously, I know now I have it, but beforehand, whenever my friends used to get into fights, I'd just be like, if you guys are gonna fight, just know that you two have been friends for however long. You can fight right now. You two can punch each other in the face. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you know that you have to come back to each other. you're not going to find any other closer relationship or anything for that matter in someone else. So,
Are there things that other people criticize you for that you think are invalid criticisms?
My weirdness. I can be a little, a little weird at times.
How?
Just mannerisms, the things I say, how honest I am on certain subjects. People are just like, whoa, okay, where'd that come from? And I'm just like, I'm always like this. A lot of people put filters over themselves, but oftentimes I either say something on a subject and it's the truth, or
Right.
or I don't say anything at all. And when I don't say anything at all, it actually bothers me when I don't say something.
So if you compare that, your behavior there with, say, an ENTP, how are they worse than you?
ENTPs are all or nothing when it comes to things like that. I mean, I don't really, once again, I don't have a problem with any of them,
Yeah.
but it's either they are just, I don't know. I don't know how to put them. They just seem very bubbly. They have the mad scientist thing going on with them where they think that they're doing something right, then it goes all wrong, then they still don't stop, and they keep trying, going with the wrong idea. And
it's more, I'm more trying to get at the area where the things that you sort of think are inappropriate or immoral, I'm trying to get at how you see those things and where your morals are in relation to them.
when it comes, I mean, I honestly don't think that they see morals. They don't care.
Hmm.
They don't care if, like, they offend someone. Unless, like, if you're a friend of theirs, then, they're going to still troll you a little bit. But, when, I don't know, it's just like some of the things that they say or some of the things that they are willing to do. I mean, once again, you can say something. That doesn't really mean anything. It's your actions that mean something to me. But the things, I don't know why they say them.
Could you, any bits that are fit for broadcast are the sort of things that they would say? Because then we can get an idea of the sort of things that you object to, and then people can get an idea of your moral
a friend
character
of mine, and I've known him for like a decade since karate. We go out and we're hanging out with this girl that yeah, don't worry, I'll get you for that later. But we're going and hanging out with this girl, and she also brings her boyfriend, and he's talking about the entire time how he wants to hook up with her, and he really wants to be with her, and things like that. And he said that he's willing to do anything. He was telling me all this before we got there. So then when we get there, he's making friends with the boyfriend, like they're actually friends. And I was like, okay, so what are you doing making friends with the guy that you're about to backstab or, date his girl? He's just like, I don't really care. I mean, I'm just gonna be friends with him right now, but I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I definitely do want to get with his girlfriend. And for me, if I'm gonna try to get with somebody's girlfriend, once again, I'm gonna be very honest. I'm honest to a fault with my emotions. So if I like you, then you know. If I don't like you, then you know. So yeah, with them, it's very. I don't really think that they like or dislike anyone. And the grand, like if they, yeah, it's like I don't know how to put it. I don't know what they think, so I can't judge. They're always that type of person that I just can't put my finger on.
Do you think there's a certain phrase? Do you think they have boundary issues?
Kind of. Based on my memory of them. In general, yes. Yes. Yeah.
I was imagining what was popping into your mind then based on your facial expressions.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, well, yeah. The thing is, like, I feel like they sort of like make it funny.
Yes, they are funny.
They take advantage of the fact that they don't know and then run with it, or they act like they don't know because it makes me think that they do know, but they don't really know. You know what I mean?
What qualities? So this is what I mean, folks. Is by talking about other types and how people feel towards them, it reveals their own feelings. So, what do you think there? Are there any aspects to ENTPs that you admire?
They are very courageous. Once again, it's all in what they say. They make bold statements. Not really sure if they would follow through with what they say though. Not sure. And that's all that's important to me is following through with what you say.
Do you think they are the least trustworthy of all the types?
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. They're pretty honest. But they, once again, I don't think they know what to do with certain situations.
Right.
So they just wing it, and I respect that.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily seem like nothing really seems to bother them. Of course, certain things will bother you here and there. That's anybody, but they have no filter, no walls.
Right. How do you think in your experience, how do you think they compare with ESTPs?
ESTPs, to me, I tend to like ESTPs a lot more. I'm much more of a fan of ESTPs. A lot of what they say and do, and sometimes I even find myself being like, oh, I really like this person or this character, and it's like, oh, they're ESTP. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird.
So,
but ENTPs are oftentimes they just fit that character of it's very easy to single them out. It's very easy to point one out and be like, yeah, you're the ENTP. You definitely, yeah. It's really easy. It doesn't mean I don't like them. I'm very neutral when it comes to them. Like, I either like them, and then there's some things that they say bother me, but then they know how to have a good time, and I want to have a good time, so that's what's important. So doesn't really go much further than that.
Yeah, there's a very specific relationship in Socionica between you and the ENTP. The people in the know will understand why you're talking about ENTPs this way. What do you think of? What I was sort of getting at with the ESTPs was, in terms of their ethics, their morals, their personal morals. Do you think ENTPs and the STPs are about the same, or do you see ENTPs as worse than ESTPs? Or about the same?
They both speak their mind. Both very forthcoming with that. That is for sure. But once again, I feel like ESTPs, once again, they pay much more attention. I think it's because of their first function. I think having SE makes you much more aware of what's going on right in front of you. Or, you're able to convince or cater to the people right in front of you. That's why they're commonly con artists or something like that.
So do you think that for that reason that they're probably more socially attentive, just because they're generally more attentive in their senses?
Yes. Once again, ENTPs, they can be they're not necessarily manipulative in the fact that they're focused on making you feel one specific emotion or what they think that they can get out of you. They're not necessarily focused on, okay, how would this relate to this person? You know what I mean?
And that's ENTPs.
They're like, oh
Or,
yeah, I want this broad emotion. There's something with NE where you guys want this broad thing. It's like happiness, sadness. I want everybody to feel this, and or I want to get this from everyone. And there's sometimes they don't realize when they might offend someone, or maybe they do. Maybe that's what they wanted. You never know. You got to ask them.
yeah, I mean, well, my advice to ENTPs is let people know when you're playing devil's advocate. Don't pretend that they are your own opinions.
Yes.
Because then,
I mean, once again, I like seeing both sides of it. They help me see both sides. So.
So what do you now think of ENFPs?
ENFPs. I had a good friend that was an ENFP. I really enjoy them. I don't know why. They're refreshing, but then it's like when they talk about certain things, they lose me. They lose me pretty bad.
In
And
communication,
I start to disagree
right.
with them.
Right. Do you think, are they the type that's the most difficult for you to understand and communicate with?
Nah, I think that's more INFPs, to be honest.
Right.
It's it's a little hard for me when it comes to them.
Which type? Right. So which type? So do you think? Do you see INFP as more different from you than say an ENFP?
I think they're different than me, that's for sure. But INFP, yeah, they're like it's like night and day. That's what I feel with them. I just genuinely, yeah.
So just in case Hannah's watching this, you're talking about the younger INFPs being
Yes, all the ones
the
that
older
I've
ones are
met,
okay.
all the younger ones, all the ones that are like my age or below. It's been a little hard.
Right. So what are they like? That's the problem.
The self-centeredness, the just selfishness. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm selfish as the next guy, probably more selfish, but it's just like certain things just really bug me. Narcissistic in a way, but it's not even narcissistic because it's like they need it on an emotional level. So it's not like a I don't know how to put it.
I just thought, if you were a boss, would you have like instead of a swear jar, an I jar? Like every time someone said the word I, they have to put $1 in the jar. To sort of like get at the INFPs.
No, like I don't want to be that guy. You know, I try to keep an open mind. I'm really trying, but you know, whenever I come across them and I start questioning their logic when it comes to certain things, it never makes sense to me. I always struggle with them.
Do you want to give
I mean, if
examples?
it gives you any indication, like when I thought I was in INFP,
Whoa.
I joined in. Yeah, I mean that's what I first tested as. So, although you know I was very unhappy with myself, a little depressed. And the testing is that it wasn't me, but I joined the group and I start just ranting about something that's going on in my life. I start cursing. I start saying all the crazy things that I would do to them, and I'm very creative whenever it comes to like things like that. But like I immediately offended them. So yeah, already like half the INFP group hated me when I first got there. That was my very first post. And as it started to progress, I started realizing that, I didn't fit in that group at all. Like a lot of the things they were talking about. I mean, like I respect their unity. I respect all of that. I'm not gonna diss them for all that, but they tend to just it's the little things. They complain about the little things.
That was interesting though. When you said uniting, because in the Kersey theory they are cooperative types. So do you think there's a bit of group think with INFPs? Yet at the same
When I
time,
spent my time there, yes, there's definitely a group. There's a clique. But you know, where I am now with INFPs is that I got blocked from INFP main. So yes,
what does that mean?
I
There
got
was a group called INFP name.
no main,
Oh,
like the main
main.
group of yeah.
Wow.
I got blocked. So yeah, I can't see anything that's going on there.
Wow. Did you feel proud of that? Should you have said that in the strengths video? I
No,
got
that's
blocked from
definitely.
INFP
I
main.
feel. I don't know. It's just not really a strength. I don't like offending people to that point.
Yeah.
You know, I always try to work it out, kind of. I mean, like for a whole group to, yeah, you know, I don't really blame them. I was sort of an ass. So,
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, which types do you like? And
do I
why?
like, favorite? I mean, I don't really have a favorite. Don't really have a.
Or the ones you get on okay with, where the communication is, where you feel you're on the same page.
ESTPs, ISTPs, ESFPs. ISFPs, it's a little
Ah.
um
What's that area of ISFPs?
I mean, like, it's not in mine. It's that sometimes I may offend them, or sometimes I may just, yeah, I don't know where it comes from.
Do
I
you think
think I accidentally hurt the feelings.
do you think they're the most NF of the SPs?
Yeah, they actually remind me a lot of no. They're their own thing. They're definitely their own thing. But if I could say that, they could probably get mistaken for an intuitive.
Yeah. Do you
But
think
once again, like it's like this for me with them.
yeah?
So.
Do you think they're like a badass NF, the ISFPs?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Right. What do you think of, without revealing your type, what do you think of SJs?
Uh, they're cool. They're all right. I mean, uh, I'm okay with them doing their own thing, but they really have a big issue with me.
Ah, here we go.
They don't, yeah, they don't like the way I just do my own thing. They tend to not enjoy the day by day, the whole me being a rogue, me doing things by myself. SJs commonly want to have a group dynamic, be together, have a label. I'm not a fan of being labeled. So yeah, it's really hard for me to do the whole. It was hard for me to get into the whole MBTI stuff when I first got in, but you know, I learned to accept it because I got to figure this out. But yeah, they definitely they have a problem with me. I just want them to do their own thing. They can have their own fun. They can have their own team. You can play your team-based games. You can do your whole thing. But me, I'm more focused on my skills. Because my skills are what's gonna, you know, dictate the rest of my future. That's the way I see it. Like if I learn how to do something myself as opposed to relying on somebody else, then you know I'll never get. Then I'll be like, oh, I wish this person was here, and that's not the way to live. That limits yourself.
Yeah. What do you think of NTs?
They're, I like you, Ben. um, I like you guys. I mean, my two best friends are NTs.
What do you like
I,
about them?
um, the brainstorming. Like, I really like that. They stimulate my mind more than they do, just activity wise. Like, because half the time we're not really doing anything. We're just driving around town. Yeah, driving around town, goofing off. So, you know,
Do you prefer the NTJs more than the NTPs?
NTJs I've gone out with. NTPs I just make friends with. NTJs usually don't really end very well though, but it just happens. I don't know what's up with that.
It's sort of going back to that thing of the the NTPs tangenting, whereas do you think that with the NTJs, it's like it's more linear, so it's like it more fits in with the way you think, and so they're sort of brainstorming in a linear way. I mean, I just wondered if you preferred that in comparison with the NTPs.
Yeah, I do prefer that. That's why they end up usually getting closer, or I get closer to them. Um, Once again, if I really want to have fun, I just hang out with NTPs. If I want like a serious relationship and people to, acknowledge that I have feelings too, then I'll look for like maybe a feeler or another SP or something. But yeah, I've tried relationships and tried getting closer to NTPs, but it's like I'm too serious, I guess.
Right.
I'm too
Wow.
intense, I guess. I don't know.
But
Yeah,
like,
they're not aware.
have you had many INTJ friends?
Yeah,
How did you get on with them?
I get along with them pretty decent. I like them.
What do you like about them?
There's things I can tell you that I don't like.
Ah, spill the beans.
They, she's very, very sneaky, very
Ah,
sneaky people, and I don't like that. Um, they know how to get you when you least expect it. If I didn't know any better, they're actually ninjas. But
are
what I
you?
do,
Yeah, go on.
what I do like about them is they just have really good insight into things. They're really driven, really just focused people. Like I'm focused, but I'm not like that level of where they're trying to like make a change or make something big. And I'm just trying to be an actor. I want to like it's like they're trying to change the world or trying to add something to the world while just living in the world, adapting to the world. You know what I mean? That's what I find with NI DOMs.
Do you think that uh, the INTJs look up to you?
I don't know, do they? I've never thought about it like that. I hope they don't. I mean, I'm not a really good example. I'm not a
Also,
model
also,
citizen.
also much are impressed by your artistry?
I think they may be. I mean, oftentimes, I've had stalkers and creepy stuff like that. Like, there was actually a fan club of me in high school. I'm not even joking with you.
What details, please? Details.
Like, okay, so I was in a little after school activity in high school, and these girls walk up to me, and then they tell me that um, there's a fan club of me. They just walk up to me and tell me that, and I'm like, okay, what, why would you tell me that? And she's like, oh, well, I just figured that you deserve to know because you're so special to us. And I'm like, okay, so who's us? And then she just giggled and walked away. So then I'm just thinking about the entire day of who's in the fan club, who's messing with me, who's actually my friend, and who's being a creeper, and all that's just crossing my mind for like the entire week.
Yes.
And
like
I'm not.
Yeah. It's just like wondering if that, especially with that laugh, you know, think, oh, is this some kind of elaborate joke?
Yeah, I'm just like, who would look up to me? Like like they don't really know who I am. Do you not? I don't know.
And especially these days, there could be cameras.
Yeah, but I heard that they used to just draw pictures of me, write stories of me. It's just, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But
wow, they're like, you imagine them coming up and say something into this recording device.
and I'll be like, no. But yeah, that's just one of the big things. Like they're really sneaky like that. They're like low key like that.
Yeah, I was just thought of something that one thing you could advertise is microphones. Buy this mic and sound like me.
That would be pretty cool. I'll think about that. Yeah.
So I think that's it. We sort of like got some information out there. Oh yes. You said something about feeling types. What sort of feeling types do you like?
INFJs. They get me. They understand. ESFPs, really cool. Shout out to Jeff. Amazing guy.
Shout out to Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
What about ENFJs?
ENFJ, it's very rocky. It's either I really like you, or you're driving me insane and I want to kill you. When it comes to them, it's very rocky.
But do you think if it was a choice between a sort of like an idealized INFJ and an idealized ENFJ, so like an ENFJ at their best, like a really good example of an ENFJ or a really good example of an INFJ, would you go for the ENFJ or the INFJ?
Depends. Like, what is my idealized? I don't really have an idealized personality.
It's like the sort of thing that they would provide, like say the ENFJ would provide more FE compared with the INFJ.
Yeah, I would probably go with the INFJ just because of the introversion.
Right.
Or the NI leading. Need a little bit more of that.
Do you think that do you classify yourself as an introvert?
Yeah. But I think it's because I haven't surrounded myself with the people that I like. It's like the people that I want to talk to.
So would you call yourself a mild introvert?
Yeah.
In terms of not only slightly introverted, because I was thinking about subtype system in terms of compatibility. Right. Any other?
Yeah, I'm definitely antisocial. I've been known for my antisocial tendencies. Just once again, I don't want to rely on people. I'm always like, no, I don't want to, do this thing with you. I want to focus on myself. I got to make sure I got me straight. can't. You know, once again, the whole impulses
Oh,
they get in the way, and
I don't know. Do you want to talk about that thing about the needs of the people close to you versus the needs of people you've never met?
oh yeah. I mean, I think this might be an Enneagram thing, though. You know, but I just have this really um, I'm extremely loyal to the people that are close to me. I'm always looking out for them. I mean, sometimes I tell them that I die for them. Of course, that's too intense for some of my friends, but others really appreciate it. Um, and then, you know, if there are people outside of my circle, I really don't care. It's just, I'm always just worried about the people that are in my circle. You know, whenever I'm hanging out with them, I'm not necessarily worried. I'm not a worried wart. I used to be when I was a kid, but not anymore. Um, it's like when I'm with them, you know, it's my ride or die. You know, this is my group. These are my people. This is what matters to me. And, you know, when everybody's talking about, well, you got to take into consideration, you know, the entire whole, the entire populace of the area of where you're hanging out with your two friends. You know, I'm just thinking, I don't really think about them. It's never really crossed my mind how I come off to them that day. You know, of course, you know, I treat everybody with respect. You know, I don't come off as like an asshole or anything. I hope not. Once again, I don't really pay attention. I'm always just focused on my buddies. But yeah, I got into an argument with an ENFP in my life about that very thing. And, you know, they tend to see everyone. They want to, you know, take care of everyone, or, you know, think about the giant picture, you know, how this is going to affect this. And they tend to like live in the land of what ifs. And it seems a little paranoid to me, but, you know, whatever. But I just tend to think about what happens in my area, what is happening immediately, what can I do about it. If I can't do anything about it, I don't focus on it. If I don't have a need to or want to do anything about it, I won't focus on it. It's just my way of life. And some people see that as selfish and cold. Others, you know, I'd rather just not lie and be like, yeah, you know, I think about people from time to time, and then, you know, get put in a situation and I look like a, you know, I'd rather just be honest about that.
Well, the next time they say that, ask them what they do for lots of people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you think you are very? So I think I've answered this before, but you did bring out the difference there between yourself and an ENFP. Yeah, I think you said that you feel that you're more different from INFPs than ENFPs.
Yeah, I mean, at least I can understand their dreamy quality,
Right.
but INFPs, I can't really get it. I try my hardest,
Right.
but nah.
Right. Do you think there's anything else worth mentioning?
I'm awesome.
Mm. Have you got any websites that you think you might be on in the future that you might want to direct people towards?
My YouTube channel, I might start making videos. I don't know. I've been meaning to.
What's the name of it? I could quickly
just
put it.
my full name. Well, not my full name. Tryston Smith. In YouTube, I haven't changed the name since Google. You know, made you use your first and last names.
Right.
So
although we can see the boxes, they might not be able to see the boxes because it's just the two of us.
yeah.
So that's going to be. Wait a minute! I don't need to spell it because the spelling's in the title of the video. So there you go,
Yes.
folks. Tryston and then Smith. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Right. So we can. Might as well wrap it up, I reckon.
All right.
Here we go. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.